As we mark September as Suicide Prevention Month, we are sharing the stories of people personally impacted by suicide. And joining us this morning is a Chicago woman who lost her father to suicide when you were in your 20s, and you've turned loss into a screenplay to hopefully raise awareness and help others. Judy Faulkner Krause is who I am talking about right now. We really appreciate you being here, Judy.
Well, thank you so much, Dana. I really am honored to have a chance to talk about this, because when you talk about things, people listen and they can relate, and hopefully there's hope.
And there's change.
Yes.
And awareness. The more
yes.
you, right? And it destigmatizes. There's
yes.
so much we could talk about. But
yes.
we chatted briefly before we went on, if you will, and your father's death, I know, occurred when you were in your 20s. You were telling me that you never really had closure from that. But now you have written a song and a screenplay. So tell me, why you decided to channel all those complicated emotions into this screenplay.
I have been in agonizing pain since my father committed suicide.
Are we talking decades now that you carried
yes.
that pain?
Well, I will also say that he tried to commit suicide when I was in high school, and nobody knows this. I'm saying this for the first time. And when he got home from being in a mental institution, my mother told me not to talk about it.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So you see, back in the 60s and 70s, we didn't talk about things. And I never once talked to my father about that. We just put it under the carpet, and nobody ever talked about it. And I truly believe that if we had discussed it, if the family had come together and we had discussed it, if we had gotten him more mental health help, that he might be here today. So then he did it when I was in my 20s, and he just left for work one day and never came back. The reason I wrote the song and the screenplay was because I never had closure. I never got to talk to him about anything, and I feel like that's the problem.
So it's called Two Good Turns. I have not, full disclosure, I haven't read your screenplay. What is it? Is it a fictionalized account of another family? Is it you talking to your father?
No, it's actually real events with me as the main character, so everything is true about me. But what's happening here is I'm trying to turn tragedy into inspiration for other people. And I rewrote history.
Yeah, you did, huh?
Because I didn't know why he did this, why he would leave his family, and I had to come up with something that made sense to me. So in the screenplay, I get to visit with him, and he tells me the real reason why he left this world.
Is that therapeutic for you?
I feel better.
Yeah?
Yeah. I know that we don't always know everything. As I said, we never talked about it. I do know, and this might help somebody else, that he was in the emergency room the night before. My mother didn't tell me until afterwards, with an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what to call panic attacks back then.
No.
And I also suffered from panic attacks. This was something that ran in the family. And I know from having them that they're paralyzing, that you don't want to live like that. And I believe he didn't know that there was help for that. And he didn't want to live like that anymore.
Now, Two Good Turns has won 14 major film festival awards, including, congratulations on that, including Cannes, Toronto, and Berlin.
Right.
3 of the big 5. Why do you think it's getting so much attention?
Well, I had one person who is a friend that worked at Focus Features read it and say, the world needs this. It's the story of hope that if we can tell people that they need to talk about this, if we can get more people to talk about it, then we can get people to have hope.
Them, right? We can educate
yes,
them.
to have
there's
hope.
Places to go for support. There's
when you feel heard, you feel hope. And I think that's the most important thing. And so I'm a writer. And what's cathartic for me is to write about the things that are important to me. And so bringing this to other people is a way of inspiring them to perhaps think about it. And that's the thing about the song that I wrote too. The main point of that is you can't take anything back. Don't go there. You can't come back. And yeah.
Right. I'm so sorry we're out of time, Judy,
no, that's
I really
okay.
Appreciate it, and I think it's wonderful that it's getting the type of attention it is, because that's the whole point, right? To talk about it, and this will help. Your film will help do that. So, Judy Faulkner Krause, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Sharing your story. I'm sure that was a really emotional journey for you to write.
It was, but you know what? It was, every minute was worth it, and I hope it does help someone talk about it.
Okay. Judy, thank you. And this reminder, if you are struggling with your mental health, you can always reach out to the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline anytime. Just call or text 988.